Okay, so I am going to record what I am hearing in my head for once, or not for once, but I'm going to start doing this. So here it goes. And I'm going to try not to give too much backstory on why I'm choosing to do this now. Maybe I'll do that in a separate recording. I just want to get this information through. So there was a woman who lived and taught in Alexandria, Egypt, and she was a philosopher, a Neoplatonic philosopher and mathematician, and she was considered one of, I think, the first recognized by society female mathematicians, and she has been coming through strongly. I mentioned it in a video a while back. I'll have to look at the date. But the way it came through was I was seeing the number 238 everywhere, like 238 on the clock, 238 on a road sign, 238 on a license plate, 238 in a phone number. And so that's one of the ways that my team of guides and ancestors speaks to me. So, or, aspects of my consciousness group, I don't even know what to call it. It doesn't matter. So, I went straight to astro.com once I finally got the message that I should, figure out what this number is trying to tell me. And I went to the asteroid, the box at the bottom where you can put in asteroid numbers. And so I typed in 238, and this name came up for this asteroid, Hypatia, Hypatia. And so what I typically do, and you know what, I may have not gone to Astro actually first. I just went to Google and typed in asteroid 238. That's where I saw the name of it and clicked on the Wikipedia article associated with it, and it said, this is named for this mathematician that I'm speaking of. So I clicked on the link for her page and read about her life story and her really gruesome, violent murder. And right when I read it, I knew for sure that was, one of my, but one of the incarnations that the consciousness that I carry in this current lifetime was also that same consciousness with her. And I'll tell you what I know to be true at this point about what that consciousness is and what other forms it's taken. So, here it goes. What I'm realizing tonight is that, at least in my own journey, that particular wisdom that was learned in that lifetime has been inaccessible because of the trauma of the death and the fear and the shock that the soul, the aspect of this consciousness that was that incarnation has been trapped in that timeline. And so I put my intention tonight towards creating safety and calling in that aspect, because my connection, I believe, that I've always felt my whole life with her and with that lifetime is through numbers. And I've always known there's more there, more than even numerology or anything like that. She had some specific understandings that I could call in now that might be useful. So we'll see what all emerges from that. But one of the things was around prime numbers, and I'll have to go look because I don't even know what kind of work she did with that, but that's what was coming through to me. And it was based on this, I don't even know what to call it, page of a book that I write down things sometimes in. It's not really a journal. It's this huge art book. It's really cool. Anyway, I had written out the Fibonacci sequence because I was seeing it as a model for the dimensions and how we can see the dimensions and how it plays out in the microcosm with the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, showing up all over nature. So the reason I never shared that is because it felt like I was missing something. Like I was on the right track, but I wasn't quite getting it right. And so tonight I realized it's because the dimensions are just the prime numbers. And I was using in-between numbers. So I think that's why the fourth dimension is sort of that in-between dimension, because it's not a prime number. Yeah, I'm still pondering this. That's why I'm talking it through. And then so this is how my train of thought goes, or however this consciousness flows in my brain. The whole reason I even started thinking about that again is because I was like, ooh, 144 is in the Fibonacci sequence, but which dimension does that represent according to this theory I'm trying to come up with? And so then that made me think of the whole Hypatia thing. And I don't even know how to say the name. That's how unresearched this is right now, because I'm so sick of trying to be perfect with this, and then the information just dissolving again. It crystallizes, I don't document it or record it, and then it dissolves again. And so this time it's I've got to get this spoken, written, etc. I'm choosing to speak it right now. Okay. This is so funny because Maru Matu today on Sensoul TV's Daily Translation was talking about reverse engineering, and I think that's what I'm doing. I'm telling the story backwards, because then the whole reason I thought of 144 is because during her video she pulled an ace and 2 4s in the Thoth Tarot, and so, or the Thoth deck by Aleister Crowley. So I immediately paused it because I was like, that's a 144. 144, that's just a number that is a very activating number for me, and I imagine for a lot of us that are here that resonate with that, what that number represents. So I pause it, and because my guides know that I've been so hesitant to share, I got extra confirmation because I looked down and the timestamp was on minute 28:43, which was my exact total when I went out to lunch today, 28:43. And then the time remaining was 12:21, which if you know anything about, the galactic alignment and the end of the Mayan calendar, it was 12/21, 2012. 12/21, 2017 is when Saturn lined up in that position. And 12/21, 2018, I'll have to go back and look because it had something significant, at least in my natal chart, but I think collectively as well. So that was all the confirmation I needed to go ahead and decide to share it. Well, I get on Facebook and I start typing, and then something, and I say, it's still there. I haven't posted it yet, but it's still there. But something told me go back and still finish those last, 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And I go back, and she pulls the Wings of Isis card, and it talks about this angelic aspect of self needing to be owned and accepted and not hidden anymore. And I really resonated with that. And that's so hard to even say, but I did. And what it made me think of was that those angelic frequencies or consciousness have taken longer to come down to this third dimension because they were coming from such a higher dimension. They had farther than any of them to travel. So when I say any of them, I mean like some of the, ascended masters and even the consciousness of like the planets, I believe, and definitely of the ancestors and passed over loved ones and that sort of thing. They didn't have to come through as many dimensions of density as like for instance, the archangel, the four archangels that represent the four directions and the four royal stars in the magical traditions. So I'm thinking that if you have ascendant or descendant or Aries point, Libra point, like type, east and west, that horizon, the horizontal axis, if you have a fixed royal star, which would be Aldebaran at 10 Gemini, Antares at 10 Sagittarius, Fomelo at 4 Pisces, and Regulus at 0 degrees Virgo, because it just moved a degree. If you have those placements anywhere on the vertical or the horizontal axis, so that would be AC, DC, MC, or IC, that there's a possibility, what's coming through to me, that you have an aspect of your consciousness that is associated with one of these archangels, and that aspect can be embodied now. So if you don't have those placements, it doesn't mean you're not special or important or here to do great work. It's just that I think one of my roles is to communicate that and be a leader for that tribe that I come from, which is my midheaven is conjunct Fomelo, which is associated with Archangel Gabriel. And I think that's all I want to share right now, because I want to see what else comes through. But whoever hears this and resonates, I would love to have a dialogue and see what comes through for you. And I appreciate if you've listened this far, because this is part of my process. But while I'm learning, I think I should also be sharing, because there's keys possibly that you hold that will be, unlocked, or there's keys that you hold that can unlock more of this great mystery that's unfolding for all of us. And so that's my greatest hope with this too, is that it reaches those who can then turn around and also contribute their unique pieces of the puzzle, so that we can get a bigger picture and start collaborating and working together in a more cohesive way, in a more unified way. And I've never really voiced that intention, and I'm glad I just let it flow, because I really felt that one. So I love you wherever you are, all of you. Blessed be.